Hey, what is going on, guys? In this video today, we're going to be doing a breakdown of arguably the best controller Fortnite player in the world right now, Reet. If you guys watch or follow competitive Fortnite at all, you've surely heard something about Reet's insane performance so far in Season 4. He's had really great performances in DreamHack, FNCS qualifiers, Cash Cups, etc, etc. But what's really made Reet the hottest name among all the controller Fortnite players recently is actually the way he plays the game. He's one of the most entertaining players to watch in all of competitive Fortnite. He plays absurdly aggressively, he's constantly doing crazy things to outplay other players, and he's just cracked in every sense of the word. It really reminds me of Prime Unknown Army or Prime wavyjacob, where in anything less than an insanely stacked lobby, he can legitimately drop 10 to 20 kills in any given game. A few days ago in a Cash Cup or maybe a qualifier game of some sort, he actually dropped a 30 bomb, and that's something that even the best players in the world can't do in pubs or low-level arena. Now, even though the first thing that you'll notice while watching Reet is his insane mechanics, specifically aim and editing, that isn't the only reason he's so dominant. I mean, plenty of players out there have insane mechanics, but almost none of them are anywhere near as dominant as Reet's been recently. So the purpose of this video is to point out some of the more subtle things that Reet does, and the hope is that you'll be able to implement those things into your own game. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Alright, so the first thing that I want to quickly go over is Reet's sensitivity values, since it actually gives a decent overview of him as a player. So he uses a 1.6x multiplier for both his building and editing sensitivity, then he uses 50% for look horizontal speed and 60% for look vertical speed with no boost. His ADS sensitivity is 17% for both horizontal and vertical, again with no boost. And then what's really interesting about him is when you look at advanced sensitivity. First off, he uses exponential, and he also uses a 0.2 second look dampening time, which is really rare. The vast majority of people obviously use no look dampening time. And finally, he uses 6% for both his move stick and look stick dead zones. So overall, his sensitivity values really aren't high at all for an exponential player, especially when you consider the fact that he again uses that high look dampening time that makes everything even slower. So knowing that, the first thing I want to talk about that makes Reet so good is his piece control. And I think there's this misconception when it comes to piece control that you need to have insane mechanics to be successful. Obviously it helps, but I remember a few months ago when I talked about Unknown's piece control in a video, I saw a few comments that were like, oh, that's cool and all, but I'd never be able to do that on console with 60 FPS. Well, to counter that a bit, here's a really nice piece control clip from Reet where he literally is on 60 FPS, and he even had aim assist turned off because he was doing some kind of challenge. The first part of that clip did have some pretty insane editing that I don't think many people could replicate, but the second part was a whole different story. It was basically slow piece control where all he really did was follow and somewhat predict his enemy's movement, and then beat them to placing building pieces in the direction they were going. He got a cone down, which stopped the enemy from being able to build anything at their feet to block shots, and then from there, it was just a super easy kill. So sure, Reet and other top controller players do make a decent amount of plays that probably aren't possible on 60 FPS, and also aren't possible unless you have insane mechanics, but simple piece control like that clip is also a foundational part of Reet's success as a player, and that definitely is possible as long as you have even average mechanics. The next thing that's almost impossible to miss when you watch Reet play is his insane aim, and most notably his shotgun aim. I don't think I've ever seen a player hit more shotgun shots than he does. And I know, again, being able to aim really well isn't necessarily something you can teach, but there are one or two things from Reet's gameplay that I really want to point out regarding aim that I think can help you guys. So this right here is a clip of him hitting pretty much 3 200 pumps in the span of about 10 to 15 seconds or so, and at regular speed, it just looks like this guy was blessed with perfect aim, and it's just all insane reaction time and natural talent. But when you slow it down, I want to point out two things. First off, he pretty much always keeps the crosshair at head level, even when there isn't an enemy on his screen and he has no idea that he's about to shoot. Because of that, whenever the enemy does pop out and he needs to quickly react and fire, he only needs to move his crosshair left or right instead of left or right and up as well. You'll even see here when he's breaking a wall, he's still making sure not to dip his crosshair too far, and that just makes it so much easier for him to hit a headshot when he finally gets the chance to shoot. Now, of course, there's still an insane amount of just pure aim talent required to hit the shots that Reet does. I don't think anybody would deny it, but something small like that is also a huge factor that's almost impossible to recognize at normal speed. Another thing that stuck out to me when I really started to break down Reet's gameplay was how well he plays angles in close range fights. I want to just run this clip that really isn't going to seem super crazy or anything, but try to pay attention and see if you can understand what I mean when I say that he's so good at playing angles. So in that clip, he basically found himself in a 1v3 situation in a high point arena match with almost no mats. I think he had like 50 or 100 total. For even 99% of top level pros, in my opinion, that's a fight that they're almost never gonna win. The situation is just stacked way too much in the enemy team's favor. So since Reet had no mats, he couldn't rely on his insane piece control and editing to win this fight, and also it's not like he just hit 3 200s to win it either. Since he only had a blue pump, it took him about 5 to 6 total hits plus some AR shots as well to get the kills. So the main thing that made it possible for Reet to do what he did in that clip was constant maneuvering to make sure he was always shooting from a position where he had right hand peek advantage. It wasn't super obvious for the first kill since it happened kinda quickly, but for the last two, it was basically the textbook definition of abusing right hand peeks. For about 3 different shots, he hit his body fully behind the wall so he couldn't be shot, then he peeked out and fired, and basically repeated that 2 to 3 different times, constantly dancing around the wall to where the enemy couldn't really hit him. I know right hand peeking isn't anything new or totally revolutionary by any means, but to see it basically single-handedly win Reet this 3v1 fight, it really shows how important it is, even though it may not be the flashiest thing in the world. So at the end of the day, even though it's easy to just be blown away by Reet's otherworldly natural talent, there's a bunch of smaller things that are absolutely crucial to his success that really anybody can do. If you focus on those things, you probably won't end up being Reet by any means, but I can guarantee you that it'll make you a better player as a whole. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you watched the entire thing, be sure to let me know with a comment down in the comment section below. Do you believe that Reet is the best controller player in the world right now, or no? Be sure to leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications, do whatever the heck you want, and I will catch you guys next time.